Good morning, and welcome back to another Lone Angler podcast. We're up to 162. That's right. That's a lot of episodes, man. I'm kind of sort of proud of it. Let's see. Yeah, December 20th. It's somewhere around 6 a.m. Hope you guys are all doing well. Christmas is right around the corner. Let's get that last minute shopping done. On this episode, my good friend Michael Thompson joins me. I had to reach out to Michael. Michael is a guy that got me into flow tube fishing. He introduced it to me many years ago, and I was super excited to see him back in his tube, even though he went down to Tennessee to do it. But yeah, I reached out to him just to see how it was for him to get back in the old flow tube. He used to be pretty hardcore into it, and it sounds like Michael might be doing a lot more flow tubing. So you'll have to listen to the episode to get the lowdown. And right now, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the sponsors of the Lone Angler podcast, Ridgetop Outdoors, right here in Bemidji, Minnesota, just on the south edge of town where Highway 71 meets Highway 2 that runs east and west. It's the perfect spot to stop. Grab some coffin spoons from Northland Tackle. Grab some clam jigs. Get yourself an extra scoop, ice scoop. You know you forgot that in the garage. It's a great place to stop. Get yourself some live bait. That's Ridgetop Outdoors. Thank you for helping out the Lone Angler. Thank you to Panfish Pursuers, P3 Plastics. That's right. They've been a sponsor of the podcast for a long time right now. And man, I couldn't be more excited about the things that those guys are doing. They have some of the best microplastics in the game right now. And if you use the code SPUG15, you can save yourself 15% off your shopping cart. That's right. Except for schooly reel knobs. I guess they don't count because they're pretty inexpensive anyway. But definitely load up on some plastics. Those guys are pushing plastisol like crazy. Be a little patient. They are swamped with orders. They will get you your baits 100% for sure. Huge thank you also to Della Bay Rods. They're brand new sponsor of the podcast. Man, I'll tell you what, those guys are making some incredible fishing rods out there. I recently got mine. I got the Pronto Pup and I got the Lamplighter, and I am really, really excited. I haven't been out on the ice yet, but I did get my Pronto Pup rigged up, and it is ready to go. That might make its debut on the ice tomorrow. But just, being a rod builder for 25, 27, 28 years on and off, they're solid. They're absolutely solid. They got great actions, good components. Love the machine pocket on the cork handle. It just makes life easier when you're setting it up, man. I'm a tape guy too. So thank you to Della Bay Rods. And if you use the code LAPFREE, you can get free shipping on your order. All right, man. With all that being said, I wish you a fantastic Christmas with friends and family. Enjoy it. Be safe. One more thing before we go. Might have another Lone Angler Unhooked coming up. But other than that, I don't know if I'll be putting out any episodes until after the first of the year. My little princess is coming home, and I kind of want to unplug from the internet for a little bit and enjoy some quality time with family and friends. With that being said, also enjoy the new year and be safe. And thank you for everything. I really, really appreciate it. And who knows? We'll probably see you next year. Bye now.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Who is that masked bobber? Yes.
That's right, dude. What's shaking, my MT?
Well, I'm just sitting here wondering what kind of fishing stories we're going to be talking about, I guess.
Whatever we want, man. You know the format.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you still sniffing out open water, or are you going to start traveling on ice here pretty soon?
Oh, I got, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do for sure this year. I was going to do some more ice fishing this year, but the ice is kind of taking its time to freeze. Got plenty of open water still.
Yeah, things are a little bit different down there in the old metro than it is up here in Bemidji. What is it? Paint us a picture of what it's like down there.
Well, it was looking pretty much like winter set in, and we had a cold weather, lake starting to freeze, and then we had a foot of snow. So it was like, okay, it's time for winter, and then all of a sudden, boom, just like that, spring came back. We had highs up to 60 degrees. We had tornadoes, storms, and it's funny because last Friday we had a foot of fresh snow in our yard. I go, this is going to be here for the winter. Middle of December, you get a ton of snow in the middle of winter. It's there till late March, early April. But no, it's all. I look out my window now, all the snow is gone.
Completely opposite of here. We had quite a bit of snow. We got a reduction because the same time that you guys were hitting 60, we were in the 50s up here just last week or just earlier this week. And I have never in my life experienced a thunderstorm and rain in December, in the middle of December. That is pretty freaking weird. And because I'm big fans of you and Matt Waldron, of course, I don't have the computing power, so I was just using the little weather app on my phone. But I was looking at the radar, and at one point up here, I just about got in my car, jumped on Highway 2 and headed west. I probably had to go maybe 10 miles, and I'm pretty sure right across the highway, I would have seen a wall of snow. And I kind of wanted to do that. Should I have done that?
Cool. Well, it depends on how much you like snow.
Well, it just would be a cool sight to see, It is. Did you get out when you guys were having that crazy weather down there? Did you jump in the car and do a little storm chasing or no?
No, I jumped in the car and did a little box chasing because I was working. I was delivering meds, and I had to drive in it. I don't get to take a day off when the weather is stormy, so I don't do much of that storm chasing. I have done that, but not recently. I was working and thunder and stuff, and I'm glad the tornadoes didn't come up here because I don't like tornadoes that are moving 90 miles per hour at night.
No, and that recent deal down there in Mayfield, Kentucky, and all that stuff was pretty bad.
Oh yeah, that's insane. And that happened. That was even worse because that happened at 3:00 in the morning when most people are sleeping.
Right.
So that's like crazy. And yeah, I used to chase some tornadoes, and they're the kind I like to see. Were the kind where you're way out, where it's flat, like in North Dakota,
right?
And where it's you can see miles and miles,
and it's a little more desolate.
Yeah, you can watch a tornado, and it's kind of cool. You can see it touch down and maybe kill some corn stalks. But I did have one. The biggest tornado I ever saw was almost an EF4, and I was watching a storm, and all of a sudden I noticed that there was inflow winds going into the storm, and on one side, the other side, there was hailstones starting to blow the other way from the back of the storm.
Oh.
And I was right in the middle. I go, something's not. I was outside my car taking pictures, and I got back in my car and I have a live radar feed. Even back in 2011, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I got back in my car and I looked at the radar, and there was a whole new storm forming right over my head.
Oh, jeez.
And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I had an escape route, so I just bombed south. Got on the road, bombed south, because I wanted to get out of the hail. That's what I was most concerned about, because those hailstones were getting pretty big. And I was getting out of there, and I drove about 2 miles, turned around, and looked right where I was. That's when I got pictures of the tornado. So the tornado formed right over my head. Wow. It was just starting to form. That's why there was a circulation around me, because it's the funnel starting to form. So I got out of there, got some pictures of it, and I go, oh, that's cool. But every time I thought about where I was, my palms would start sweating. And I found out later I found out later in the storm reports and then some news reports in the area, it was in North Dakota, central North Dakota, that the tornado actually hit somebody's house with 2 people in it, but they just happened to, like 3 weeks earlier, build a new storm shelter inside of their house where they could climb into it.
Oh, wow.
And they actually heard this tornado coming towards them, and they said, well, let's get in the storm shelter. They got in the storm shelter. They heard a lot of noise, and then it was done, over, and they're fine. And they got out of the storm shelter, and their house was completely gone.
That's insane. I can't imagine what that would be like, and I don't want to ever experience it. That deal that happened in Mayfield, Kentucky, there in Western Kentucky, was a pretty bad deal, and I was a little freaked out because Ellen and her mom and her stepdad and her little sister, they live in Springfield, Tennessee, which, as the crow flies, wasn't that far from there. And they assured me everything was okay. But yeah, man, when I was living in Kentucky, I experienced a few intense storms, and that was enough for me. That was enough for me. I'd rather chase, and this is why I called you. I'd rather chase big panfish out of the float tube, and I was so excited to see that you inflated the old fish cat. What? And then you went down to Tennessee?
Yeah, I went down to visit my folks for Thanksgiving, and they have some nice little ponds.
Your folks live down in Tennessee?
Yeah, they live in Crossville.
Huh. I did not know that.
Yeah, that's why I end up in Tennessee sometimes. Yeah, I don't drive all the way down there to catch bluegills. We got plenty of bluegills.
Dude, I've known you for quite a long time, and you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if you did. So, that's why I was kind of like, whoa, Tennessee? All right, well, sometimes the MT that I remember will get in his car and he'll just take off and he'll go fish.
Yeah.
What inspired you to drag out the old fish cat or fat cat?
Last year we were gonna go full tubing over on try to catch some bullfin.
Yeah.
And then I got my full tube out and I was hyped, man. I was ready. I said, I'm going out. I'm gonna get my full tube out. got it out, pumped up one side, all good. Okay, that's good. And the other side started pumping up. And then one pump up, it'd go up and down. It looked like I was giving somebody mouth-to-mouth resuscitation or something like that. It'll go up, and then I'd stop pumping and go back down.
Oh, no.
What's going on here? And I took the tube out, and I took the tube, the bladder out. They got two. The fish cat's got 2 bladders.
Yep.
So I took the one out, and I looked in there, and it was a hole in it, and there was all kinds of dust and stuff. And I was like, what's going on here? And then I found the culprit. It was a mouse. He made his nest in my float tube bladder.
That son of a gun.
And I even took pictures of it.
Oh.
It was crawling around. I said, oh, look at this little guy. He ruined my float tube. So I thought, well, I'll try to get another one. And then we had to cancel our trip, and then I don't know what happened, but then I just kind of lost interest and threw it back again. Threw it back in the shed. It's like, I learned my lesson. Never leave your float tube without the valve covers on, because that's where he went in. He went in one of the valve covers. I left the valve covers out.
I gotcha.
Open. So the mouse got in there and did his dirty work.
Yeah, so. I store my float tube right up here in the apartment. I got this massive walk-in closet. Like it could almost be a spare bedroom, and I call it my fishing closet. And I have Ellen's float tube in there and my float tube. I learned a lesson a long time ago back in college. I put it away I put it away after that what I like to call famous trip that you and I did Halloween weekend, where I float tubed with no waders, and we caught some fish. It was raining that day. But I put the float tube away, and it was just a couple weeks later we got really cold weather, and I ended up cracking one of the bladders in my Cumberland from just leaving it out in the garage. I was renting a house at the time, and And that kind of sucked. So I just bought a new bladder set, and I had the spares or whatever. But from then on out, and then I sold the flow tubes. Now I repurchased them, and now they stay inside where they're nice and warm and mouse free. So tell me about the experience. I mean, was it a good reuniting of the flow tube and you?
Yeah, what finally happened, remotivated me again is, usually when I go down Tennessee, I take a detour and go down to the Gulf Coast and maybe do a little fishing. So
that's a hell of a detour, my friend.
Oh yeah, well I need to get some sun. I like sun. November's so dark, and I need some sun. Plus, I want to have, sometimes 2 years ago, that's what I did, and I got some fishing opportunities. I fished for everything from redfish and tarpon, peacock bass. Peacock bass were successful. I had less success with the saltwater because there was a red tide, so it kind of blew that. But that's what I usually do. But I decided this year because all the issues with the economy and this and that, I didn't want to. I'm almost got all my bills paid off. I'm almost out of debt. And I don't want to spend any money right now until I get done. I'll be done with that in a couple months, and then I'll be free to travel more maybe. But I figured
that's awesome.
I'm just gonna go to Tennessee, visit my folks. I'm not gonna drag my boat all the way down there with my trailer and stuff like that. They charge more at the tolls too for you got a trailer on there. Plus I use a lot more gas stuff. So I figured, what I'll do? I'm gonna talk to Outcast and see if I can order me a new bladder. So I did. I ordered a new bladder and pumped that up, and it was great. And I found out my other bladder leaks a really slow leak, but it's not bad enough to keep me from fishing. It just starts getting a little soft while I'm out on the water, but it still keeps me floating good. As you can see in the videos, I had a couple videos that I made.
Yes.
So I did that, and since all the lakes around, most of the lakes around where my folks live are pretty small. They're small little impoundments. I figured, a float tube would be perfect for that.
Yeah. Well, see, where Ellen lives, there around Springfield, there isn't much for water at all. They're northwest of Nashville, about 40 minutes or so.
Okay.
Yeah. In your folks, are they around the Nashville area, or more Memphis, or more Knoxville?
Between Knoxville and Nashville, kind of in the middle, or Cooksville, maybe close to Cooksville.
Okay.
There's a lot of great lakes there. There's like Dale Hollow Lake and
Kentucky Lake,
Chickamauga and stuff like that, which are. But at the time of year I was going there, I didn't want to fish the big lakes. I'd rather fish the big lakes in a warmer time when you have a chance at catching those giant largemouths or stripers. So I figured I'd just fish the small lakes and just get. There's bluegill or bass, jumbo perch and all that stuff in these.
Yeah, small... man. I was watching your videos, and then of course I always follow you on the social medias because of your photography, which is always on point. We'll get to that after a little bit, but I was really, really surprised to see big yellow perch. I didn't expect that out of Tennessee whatsoever.
I was too. The first time I caught one, it was 3 years ago. I caught one, and I thought I caught a ditch pickle, which is what I call bass sometimes when I'm not targeting them. I call them ditch pickles. So I thought, I hooked me a ditch pickle, and I pulled it up, and it was a 14-inch perch. I was like, holy moly! And then I found out later that one of the lakes in this area where the lakes are, it's called Fairfield Glade. And it's like a resort town, kind of, but there's a lot of people there and stuff like that. And I found out that one of the lakes holds the state record for yellow perch.
Oh, wow.
I think it was like it might have been like 3 pounds. I don't know. I don't remember the size of it.
Dang, man. That's about the size of our yellow perch. Earlier today, everybody knows I like watching a lot of YouTube, and Kango Gratis put out episode 1 of Perch Pro 8 from over there in England. I posted that picture, that one. I just paused the TV there that they caught in northern Sweden. It was almost 19 inches and a little over 5 pounds.
Holy moly, that's a jumbo of jumbos there.
Yeah, well, the European redfin perch look a lot like our yellow perch, except their fins are red, of course. That's why they got that name.
Yeah, I've seen those. Are they a different species, or are they
Yes.
just... okay, they're not like... Because you go over there and they catch those giant pike, but they're still the same species as the ones we got here. But
Yep, no,
they just get bigger. But the perch is actually a different species altogether.
yes, it's a very, very close cousin to our yellow perch. I don't think genetically that our yellow perch can... I mean, there's 16, 17, 18 inches that are coming out of Cascade and some giants that come out of there, but these are built way different, and I'm almost 100% sure that if you were to pull like DNA samples, you would see that they are different species, but these guys are fishing them with chatterbaits, like half-ounce chatterbaits and 4-inch plastics hanging off those chatterbaits. They're using topwater baits that you'd use for smallmouth. They're quite aggressive over there. And,
interesting.
Yeah, so if you ever, I'll maybe send you a link after this. I think you'd really enjoy it, MT. It's pretty cool stuff. But yeah, man, I was so excited to see that you brought out the tube and you took her down there, kind of like a resurgence, if you will, down to Tennessee and kicked around. And they were awesome videos, and you caught some quality bluegills down there, man.
Oh yeah, there's some really nice. They I don't know if they feed them or what, but they keep a good balance in there. They don't get stunted or anything like that. They're all nice and fat and healthy usually.
Oh yeah.
I get them close. I haven't broke 11 inches yet. I got that one. I got in that one video was like almost 10 3/4.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
and they look a lot like our northern bluegills, man.
Yeah, they're the same species, but there's also red ear, but I haven't found those yet. I've heard some lakes have big red ear or shell crackers, but I haven't found those yet.
Yeah,
I caught some in the river a couple of years ago, by a warm water discharge. I caught some shell crackers and some tilapia.
Okay, yeah, tilapia. I've watched Ty Klebe. He another YouTube guy. I've actually talked to him. He's a really nice dude. He does quite well with these giant weird bluegills, like bluegill crosses and all these different, shell crackers and stuff like that. And he recently went out he went out and did a big trip on Havasu, and I think he got one that was over 3 pounds or something like that. One of the biggest that he's ever caught out of Havasu. And as I was watching it, at the same time, I was kind of thinking like, MT and I should pack up the tubes and catch a plane and go get one of those things out of a float tube.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that would be a good time. But the shell crackers, they don't do well in cold water. From what I understand, we don't have them. I mean, we might in like southern Minnesota, like a genuine red ear sunfish. AKA,
yeah, I used to catch them. I used to fish in I fished in an ice fishing tournament in Michigan, and I caught red ears, and I caught hybrid red ear bluegill hybrids too.
Okay, so they can be all right in cold water. I just thought they were always, because they're fairly common down south, in your warmer climates, and you just don't hear, like, we don't have them up here. Then again, the Bemidji area doesn't even have catfish that I know of. So, but I always understood that. I just thought that shell crackers were more of a warm water fish, and they just couldn't handle the freezing of the lakes up here. And I might be wrong. I'll have to look more into that.
Yeah, I know they can live under ice. I don't know if they maybe forage or habitat or something's different, or
could be.
I don't know.
I've also
people like to stock fish where they don't belong too. So who knows?
Right?
Maybe they're not native to like Michigan or something like that, and they just threw in there and they survived. I don't know.
Right. Well, hey, speaking of people bro science and people stocking their own fish. Have you ever been down to Albert Lee and tried to catch some goldfish, some of those big goldfish down there?
No.
No? Have you ever heard of it?
Albert Lee?
Yeah, down southern Minnesota. Right on the border of Iowa.
Yeah, I know the town, but I don't...
Well, Albert Lee Lake, there's a lake right in town called Albert Lee Lake, if I'm remembering it correctly, and it's divided by a highway. There's a bridge, and there's a little channel that goes between the two, but there are some massive goldfish in there.
Oh, maybe they're koi, which is actually a golden carp, and they look like goldfish.
No.
But they have barbels like a carp.
No, these are goldfish.
Oh, okay. Well, I know there's a lake. There's a lake right here in the cities that's got those, and I go there sometimes to do wildlife photography, and I haven't got a picture yet. But every once in a while, you get a picture of osprey will dive into this lake and pull up a big old goldfish. Just
could be kind of fun to catch.
Pounders. Well, there ain't a lot of them in there, but there's some. Yeah, you could probably catch them. Yeah. I used to catch when I was a kid. I used to catch them in Loring Park. I'd go to Loring Park and just use corn, and I'd catch goldfish all the time. And then I'd take them down to the pet store and try to sell them and say that I raised them in a pond. They didn't buy into that.
Oh my gosh,
no,
the dark.
We don't want them. Take them away.
The dark secrets of MT's youth coming out. Love it. Oh,
I got all kinds of those. My first muskie was actually a dead one I found on the shore when I was like 6 or 7 years old. I don't know I hope I haven't told the story yet already.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I scooped it up in the net, and it was at my grandma's cabin on Bone Lake in Wisconsin. And I scooped it up in the net, and I dragged it home. And my grandma was in the kitchen. I walked up to the window, and I go, "Grandma, look what I caught! Look what I caught!" and she saw this big thing in the net, and she goes, "For heaven's sakes, how did you catch that?" And then my grandpa came out, and then they could smell it was dead, and they were like, "Well, it's dead. And I go, "Well, it was alive when I caught it, and it died when I was dragging it over." So I was already good at cooking up a fish story even when I was 7.
Oh my god, man, that's funny, dude.
And they invited everybody in the whole lakeshore to come down and see it, and everybody wanted their picture with it, and I was famous. I was like, "Oh, I like this fishing because it gets me attention."
Man, I'm gonna have to call Hulu, and they're gonna have to make a documentary on that. That sounds intriguing, my guy.
Oh yeah, and then after it was all the drama was over, my grandpa took it back into the woods and buried it. Gave it a proper burial. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's funny, man. That is funny. Back to the flow tube though. Any thought of maybe upgrading to a different tube, or is that one holding up? How long have you had that fish cat? That Outcast?
Oh my goodness, let me see.
It's an Outcast Fat Cat, isn't it?
No, it's a Fish Cat 4.
Fish Cat 4, okay.
Yeah, for the little people. The Fat Cat's for the big people, and the Fish Cat 4 is for the little people.
Gotcha.
So, and I was pretty big when I got it, but I'm a lot smaller now.
Yeah, I know. You went through quite a big change many years ago, and I'm happy to see you sticking with that. I've just recently begun my journey, so.
Well, my hips and knees gave me a little choice. I either live in pain and get my hips replaced, or get rid of all the extra weight, and and that made it a little easier.
Yeah.
To stick with it, But yeah, I'm trying to think. 2004. I don't remember. I really don't remember.
Okay.
I had a kayak before, actually, at the same time, but kayaks were a lot more unstable back then, and
they were.
I had a little incident out on the river where I had my fishing poles and stuff, and it just moved the wrong way, and I flipped it, and I lost my fishing poles, and then I decided, I had enough of this kayak fishing, and I'm gonna just full tube.
Yeah. Well, I first met you on BigBluegill.com, and that would have been like 2009-ish, somewhere around there. And that's, at the time in college, I was like, I really want to fish, and I don't have a boat. I can't afford a boat. And I think I was messaging you. I missed that website. I don't even know if it's still a thing or not, but I used to sit on there for hours and talk to you and Bruce and Jim Grona. And I still remember a bunch of those guys.
You were the bullworm. I remember you were bullworm.
bullworm, and that's how I met Matty
And
Brewer right here in town.
And I don't remember what I was. Was I MT Bucket or something like that?
MT Bucket or Darth Vader, which is still around. It's still a thing. Darth Vader.
Yeah. I don't remember which one I was. I had a few handles. So
yeah, and it's good to see that Big Bluegill is. It's on Facebook and stuff. But I just remember that website, and I remember that one gentleman. I remember his posts. He would post once a year in the spring. He was from around the Mankato area, and he would post absolute ginormous bluegills. I can't remember his name right now, but we're talking almost 2-pound class fish.
Was that Bruce?
No, the Bruce Condello. He's the owner of BigBluegill.com.
He had 3-pound blue. He had pictures of 3-pound bluegill.
Yeah, from that Richmond mill.
Fins.
Yeah, no, this guy was. I want to say his name was Ross, and he was from. Yeah, like I said, around that Mankato area, maybe even a little bit south of there. But they were just absolute behemoths. And he would get them in the spring, and he'd keep 2 of them and get them mounted. It was pretty crazy. But yeah, that's how I met you, and you talked me, you're like, dude, you should get a float tube, and I did, and man, I fished out of it for years, and then boats came and went, and I don't know, it was the pandemic, and I was like, I got rid of my Jeep because it was starting to break down. I was like, I'm going to sell my boat, and I'm just going to get a float tube. I'm over it, man. It was so much fun, and I'm so glad I did. Then I talked Crafty into buying one, and he bought a new, $50,000 boat, and he still loves his float tube. He's like, dude, this is one of the funnest things I've ever fished out of. And
I mainly like the simplicity of it. I mean, I see people rig their float tubes up with gadgets and even Panoptics and cameras and 15 rods. But it's for me, I just like the simplicity of it. Just pull up the float tube, pop it in the water, just grab a rod and just relax and fish. I'm kind of wearing down. I'm not really interested in going through all the hype of having a boat and maintaining it and all that stuff, And,
yeah, I get it, man. Even my float tube, I kind of upgraded. I have the classic accessories Cumberland like I did back in college, and it's a great float tube. And I put that boot tray on there, so I got kind of a deck, and I ended up putting it was like $110 Garmin graph on there, and that's really kind of nice. I don't mind having the graph on there, but I've got like a quick kit disconnect mount on there so that I can take it off because I'm into this whole fly fishing thing, and I've tried to fly fish out of the float tube, and that's a whole nother ball game right there. Learning how to cast while sitting down.
I used to fly fish all the time on my tube, and I tell you what, people think it's hard to fly fish, but the key is when you're sitting in the tube, you don't have to cast nearly as far.
Right.
So that's the thing. When you're standing, or off a bank or in a boat, you got to cast farther. So so it's actually not hard to cast like fish out of a full tube at all. In fact, the biggest bass I ever caught in my full tube fly fishing was I was using a popper, and I accidentally snagged my popper in the lily pad right in front of this hole where I wanted to fish. Mm-hmm. So I kicked my flow tube up to the lily pad right through the hole, undid my popper, and then backed off about 15, 20 feet and threw my popper right in the hole, right where I just was in my flow tube. And a 5-pound bass blew up on it, and I caught it.
That's awesome.
It's like flow tubes, bass, they come around, sunfish, they follow you, they'll sit around by you and stuff like that.
Yeah. You kind of, I kind of feel like Ace Ventura, when nature calls, like when I'm out, I've had beavers come over and swim by, and, they'll give me a warning shot, and then I don't move, and then they come back, and they just kind of sit there and float and look at you like, this is pretty weird. I've never seen this before. Doesn't seem to be a threat. I've been really close to deer drinking on the edge of the lake and all that kind of stuff. I just absolutely love it, and I love the exercise that I get from it too. But I think the biggest benefit for me, and you said this earlier, was you just kind of simplify things. I know I would, when I had a boat, I'd bring everything I owned with me, all the tackle, all the rods, all the reels, and I'm just going out for a week, or for not a weekend, but just for an afternoon of crappie fishing. And I'd bring everything with me. And it was like distracting to me. So with the float tube, it's kind of like, well, if I'm going to bass fish out of it, I got to pick like 2 presentations and bring those 2 rods in a handful of tackle, and let's see what happens. And I know for me anyway, it's helping me fish certain techniques longer and getting to know them and learning how to fish them correctly. So that's kind of a fringe benefit that I'm getting from the float tube. But I think you're right, though, when it comes to fly fishing out of it. And as you were telling me all that, I was kind of thinking back at the couple of times I did it, and I was trying to cast really far with it. But now it makes sense because you are pretty silent. You've got a pretty small footprint. You could probably get a little bit closer to the areas that you want to hurl that fly into. That makes a lot of sense, man.
Yeah, you get closer with your feet instead of with your cast. You get sneak up to them and then just do a nice silent shorter cast.
Yeah. Well, and I'm still thinking about upgrading my float tube. I might hand down the Cumberland to Ellen. And being that I watch a lot of European fishing and stuff, that float tubing is real huge over there, and I'd really like to get my hands on a 7 bass float tube out of France. And they have all different kinds of them, but the one I want is a 180 Explorer, and they're bladderless float tubes.
Oh.
Yeah, they're built quite a bit different. They're built like the bladderless float tubes are more like your inflatable Zodiac boats. They don't have any bladders in them. It's just a really, really tough inflatable material that they're made out of. They're expensive. They're the one that I'm looking at, and I'm waiting on an email back from them. It's around just under $800.
I used to have a Sea Eagle, like a small raft that didn't have bladders. You just blew it up. It was just an inflatable boat. Yeah, that's kind of the same thing.
And
they're tough. They're tough. You won't. They're hard to puncture. And
and they come with a foot pump to inflate them. And the other thing that really, one of the features that I really like is it has an inflatable seat. So you pump up your tube, and then you got to pump up your seat, your backrest. And that Cumberland, man, after a couple hours, I mean, I'm sitting on this chunk of foam material, and it is as hard as concrete. Yeah. And my ass just starts killing me after a little while. Matter of fact, so much so that it should be here this week, is that company, they make a pretty wild-looking mattress. It's super expensive. It's called Purple. They also make a seat cushion. It's like a silicone rubber, and it's got this really weird honeycomb shape to it, but they make this seat cushion. And when I get here, I'm going to measure the height of that, and I'm going to trim out that much out of that chunk of foam, and then I'm going to slip that in there so it's a little bit softer on me delicate cheeks.
Yes. So gotta keep those cheeks comfortable.
Yes, exactly. So I can fish longer, man.
Butt. Yeah, you don't want both butts. I find myself just kind of putting my hands down and kind of pulling myself up a little bit to get some pressure off once, because I got the same old foam seats too, and I don't have as much padding on my backside. But
yeah, I don't.
I stay pretty comfortable. Stay pretty comfortable. Especially the fisher bite. Fisher bite, and I get zeroed in on the fish.
Oh yeah, the pain goes away. Yeah, you get into a big school or something, and the pain just immediately goes.
Are you using waders now, or are you still freezing your what's off?
Oh, I'm still freezing my what's off.
I guess you don't need them anymore. I guess you can be comfortably numb. I guess I don't know. I get too cold. I have to have I put waders on. Even in Tennessee, I had my waders on. I had long underwear on and everything.
Well, that's one of the things that I'm using to keep me inspired through this winter, through going to the gym, and and cutting weight is I want to get a nice pair of waders, and they're a lot easier to fit into and to find if you're, if a guy loses, 60, 70, 80 pounds.
There you go. You got some motivation.
Yeah.
Reward yourself some really nice waders,
Well, and I do want a pair, because there's some waters that, back like up here, back in some swamps and stuff like that. And I'm not afraid of fish biting me or anything, but I do have some concerns with leeches and that kind of business. But majority of it is so I can get out into the water earlier and fish out there later.
Right. I mean, we could go tubing right now. I mean, if you wanted, you can stay warm. It sounds cold, but you can stay warm. You just got to put layers on,
Yeah, and if you got good waders, you're darn right.
I have to cheaper Cabela's uninsulated breathable waders with stocking foot.
Mm-hmm.
I like the cheaper waders because, you can get those neoprene waders, and they'll keep you warm and all. But I tell you what, when you got to pee, oh boy, you're going to be wishing you didn't have those on. I tell you. And if I have the uninsulated ones, then I can adjust how much insulation I want by putting on more layers underneath.
For a long time, I thought about getting the 5mm or 7mm neoprene waders for that extra insulation. But in doing my research and really thinking about it, I actually started going, just like ice fishing. I mean, I buy, as far as the warmth scale goes, always like a medium suit. It's not the warmest, but it's not the coldest either, because then that gives me options. And what you just said is the same conclusion that I came up with when researching for waders, was like, you know what, maybe uninsulated, but I need the neoprene stocking foot, but maybe uninsulated is the way to go, because then, like you just said, you can adjust your insulation level to whatever you need. That makes perfect sense.
Just get some fairly loose fittings so you can put more clothes under them. That's all.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I do, and it works good. I don't,
Yep, and I have to have the ones that have the neoprene sock because of my flippers that I have that I got from Uncle Tommy. They're awesome. They're an actual scuba flipper, and they're designed for in the little scuba boots or snorkeling boots.
Okay.
Which are awesome. I love it because if I'm going to go float tubing for the evening, I don't even bring my shoes. I just put my neoprene boots on. They have a little tread pattern underneath them. They got a little sole on them. They're almost like a wrestling shoe, but they're made out of neoprene, and they zip up on the sides. And then these flippers I just put my foot in there and they lock right in, and it's kind of nice.
Because that's my weak point. Is I just got regular diver's fins.
Yep.
And they fit good in the summer when I don't have my waders on. But when I got my waders on, they don't fit too good. I can't get them over my heels, so I'm kind of having them on, but not all the way on. But they still work, but it's not as comfortable, and they kind of squeeze my toes together. So I gotta figure out a better system for my flippers. Okay. I used to when I first started float tubing, I had the Outcast fins.
Yep.
And used them with wading shoes. But they just didn't kick that good. I didn't think they were a lot slower. The diver's fins really give you a lot more power.
Yeah, that's what I have are the diving fins. And I'll after we're done here, I'll send you a picture of my setup, and it works quite well because, like I said, I don't have to carry shoes with me, or if I'm hiking into a lake, I don't have to, just leave my shoes on shore and hope nobody takes them or anything like that. It's one and done, man. It's over. I love it. And then my daughter, I bought her that flow tube last summer, and she absolutely is in love with it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dude, to see her when we first went out, the tubes that we have, they have backpack straps underneath them. You can take them off, and so I used one of the backpack straps, or actually both of them, and I tethered us together. So, because she'd never done it before, and she was a little nervous, and we were kind of kicking, and I was trying to show her how to turn. It was really hard to turn with her attached to me, so I unclipped, and she was kind of like, "No, Dad, no, I'm freaking out." And I said, just go ahead and kick around. If you want to turn, use one leg, and so on and so forth. Within 5 minutes, she had it down, and I could feel it. She had this like independence come over her. Like she wasn't relying on Dad to move, and then all of a sudden it came like, I just sit back and watch her cast with a spinning reel, and it would get tangled and, hey, do you need some help? Nope, Dad, I got it. I'm good. Or I'm going to go and fish over here. And she would go and kick and fish over there. And she just absolutely loved it. Wanted to take it back to Tennessee with her, but I said, nobody else down there fishes. So I would just leave it here and we'll fish all summer. But she wanted to go every single day last summer. After I would get done with work and be like, well, honey, it's going to storm or there's high winds or, or we would go, matter of fact, she's coming home for Christmas here. I got to pick her up on Tuesday from the airport, and she's already asked, Dad, is my flow tube okay? I said, your flow tube is just fine.
She's going to want to go flow tubing now. You're going to have to find out. Well, somewhere.
She's actually asked if I'd take her out ice fishing.
Oh, okay.
The problem with that is she's only here for 10 days. So the winter gear she doesn't have, right. I picked up a pair of women's Sorels that I found on Facebook Marketplace. They were like $20 or something like that. And she's literally going to use them for 10 days and then she's gone. She doesn't come back till summertime. And I thought about it and I was like, I would like to take her out and I could probably pull it off a little bit, but as far as getting her like legitimate ice fishing gear, I think I'm going to wait till she's a little bit older so that she could wear, she isn't growing so fast. Yeah. And who knows? She might decide to say, you know what, Mom, I want to go live with Dad for a while. And her mom and I have talked about that and she is more than welcome to if she wants to. So, the day comes or the time comes that she ever wants to move up here, then I'll set her up with ice fishing gear. But I did take her out one time when she was pretty little. She was probably 5, maybe. Old Matty Brewer there let me borrow one of his rentals for the afternoon. Nobody was in it and took her out and she thought it was pretty cool, but I don't even know if she remembers that. She was pretty young. So, but yeah, she absolutely loves her flow tube. She's already, put in a request for her Dad to get her her own fishing rod. And I told her, I said, this spring when you come or this summer when you come, we'll go and we'll get you your own tackle. You can pick it out. I'll help you pick it out. We'll get you your own little box and stuff and we'll start collecting for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. I like that. I'm surprised flow tubing isn't a more popular way of fishing. I mean, after seeing how kayak fishing is just blowing up, I mean, I used to be doing it before it was cool, and now I look back and it's like, holy cow, it's really blowing up. But the flow tube thing hasn't blown up. Pardon the pun, blowing up.
No, that's actually a pretty good analogy or pretty good little pun.
I don't know. Back when I was into flow tubing a lot, I got a few people into it. I should have been pro staff for Outcasts because I think I had like 3 friends get fish casts after trying mine out.
Yeah.
No, I don't know why I quit doing it. I don't know. I started doing other things and I don't.
Yeah. I mean, same thing here. When I got my tube back, I was like, man, why did I ever stop doing this? And I know why. I bought a boat. I bought a couple of boats,
Okay.
And then just, I don't know, man, this last summer, I had a lot of fun and I started taking this fly fishing journey. And I guess I've reached that point where I just want to relax, like ice fishing. Andrew Kraft, we might go out tomorrow and he's been asking, what the plan is. I'm like, I don't really know. Like I want to ice fish, but my heart isn't in it like it used to be. Yeah. My idea of fun now is sitting down and filling up my fly boxes and getting ready for spring. And the whole, the flow tube thing, I can go where I want, when I want. I don't have to worry about boat landings. I don't have to worry about, a whole lot of the stuff that you have to worry about with a boat. gas, plugs, is it charged, all that shit.
Nope.
I just have to worry about if I'm charged up enough to go.
You just have to worry about not dropping the sunfish on your float tube.
Yeah.
And I did that once. I used to have my first float tube was one of the inner tube ones, just
the round ones.
Yeah, I had the round one, and man, I used it for years, and I caught tons of fish in that thing. But one day I was fishing, and I caught this nice bluegill, and I was admiring the pretty colors, and all of a sudden it flopped out of my hand and landed. The dorsal fin landed first into the front of the tube and bounced off into the water. I go, oh, it got away. And then all of a sudden I heard the dreaded I'm like, no! I got sabotaged by a sunfish.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I don't think you really have to worry about that now, because like my Cumberland, it's got this like 600 or 800 denier nylon Cordura cover over top of those bladders.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough unit. But whenever I've been at a public landing with my float tube and there's somebody there, they always ask me a ton of questions. I brought it down to Ridgetop Outdoors' grand opening, set it up, and I had a lot of people talking to me about it. And it's not that I want everybody to have a float tube. I just want to show people that don't have boats, can't get a boat, or don't have the equipment to pull a boat, that you don't have to fish from shore. Here's an option. And I know there's kayaks, but like we touched on earlier, kayaks, man, they can get pretty dang expensive, and a lot of them, when you start rigging them out, you need a trailer for them and this and that. They're cool units and everything, but a float tube, $200, you can have a boat. You can put it in the trunk of a car and go fishing. You're not stuck to shore. That's what I've been promoting with the float tube. Doesn't matter which. Well, go ahead.
Both of them can be as simple or as complicated as you want them to be. It's the same with kayaks. If somebody wants to fish in a river, I recommend to get a kayak. But if you're fishing lakes mainly, a float tube's fine. Either one. And you don't have to rig them up. And I mean, some of these kayak tournaments, I mean, they turn their kayaks into bass boats. They got the smart motor on the front, and they got so they all have to do is push a button, and the kayak does the boat does all the work for them, and all they have to do is fish. Yeah, those kind of things. And then you got the float tubes that you can do. I've seen people even put electric motors on a float tube.
Oh yeah.
What? Just get a boat.
Yeah, I know.
Do that.
Yeah.
But that's what's make them happy. That's fine. I don't care.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's just like, when you get a boat, I mean, you don't have to, put $10,000 worth of electronics in it if you don't want to. There's no rule that says you have to, but kind of like, I upgraded my float tube. I have a small graph for it, and there's been times where I thought about even upgrading that graph to something a little bit bigger, or setting up the sorry, I was having a little bit of a brain fart there. Setting up the Vexlar for it.
That's what I do.
Yep.
That works great because I just use the like ice fishing. I just use the hanging deucer, and with the float tube, it's nice because you can just slowly kick against the wind, and you can kind of keep your line right down under the deucer. And you can, just like ice fishing, you can see. That's how I was doing in Tennessee. I could actually a lot of times, if I could stay on top of them, I could actually see them coming up.
Yeah,
and no one to pull my line up a little bit or put it down. It's not quite as precise as when you're on a ice fishing hole, but it's still the same concept. And those fish down there, they didn't know what hit them. They'd never seen, anybody fish that way after them. So it's like.
Well, and I thought about getting the open water deucer for my FLX 28, because the transducer that I have now, I have actually a little fold down high impact plastic transducer arm that I fold down and lock in place. So it's just like having a transducer on a boat. And I thought about getting an open water transducer for it so that
Yeah,
it wasn't like the thing wasn't like swinging around and here's my bottom is just cruising all over the place. I mean, it'd be simple for me because I already have a lot of the apparatus there.
nah, you don't need that. My deucer hangs down perfectly all the time now.
You know what? It really wouldn't have to stick that far down in the water anyway.
No, I only put it down, a foot or so.
Shit,
you can see it on my videos. You can see it kind of dangling.
Yeah.
Just under my flow tube, So I don't want it down too far because the fish, bluegills they spin circles around everything and they'll tangle in it,
Oh yeah, for sure. And the one thing that I did add, my cousin, he lives up in Alaska, and this was years ago. He sent me down an anchor. It's like a little foldable 2-pound anchor. It's got 3 little arms that stick out of it. Like I said, it weighs like 3, maybe 4 pounds. And those 3 little arms pull up, and there's a collar that slides over it. And I did use that anchor this fall. And that works pretty darn nice. Especially in the fall, if I'm looking on my graph and I'm over 20 feet of water and there's a big school of bluegills there. I can slowly let that anchor down and boom, I can stay right on top of them. It's kind of nice.
Okay, I've never tried that.
Yeah, I just have a little anchor, and matter of fact, he sent me up like 100 feet of rope with it. I sat and just kind of measured out about 25 to 30 feet of rope. That's about all I need. So I got
Does he float through up in Alaska? Does he float through there?
No.
Oh, that'd be fun. You'd have to have a lot of layers on the waders, but imagine going out in the saltwater and hooking into one of those halibut on a float tube. That'd be insane.
That would be insane. I did watch a guy on YouTube. He's a fishing guide in Florida, and I think he just goes by Captain Ben or whatever, but he went out and he caught a Goliath grouper out of a flow tube. Matter of fact, the same flow tube that Ellen's got.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he never went down and never flipped or anything like that, but, I've had people that joked with me, like, oh, sturgeon pull you all the way over to International Falls. And I was like, yeah, I see where your head's at, but actually it'd probably be a lot easier to fight a sturgeon out of a float tube than it would be a boat. And they're like, how so? And I said, well, in a boat, you're stationary. So the rod, you're fighting all of that fish with the rod. If I'm in a float tube and I've got flippers on, I'm now using my whole body to control that fish.
Pull you around until it's tired and you get them.
Yeah, or just kick against them. I'm stronger than a sturgeon.
You could. I suppose that definitely would be fun to get a sturgeon on a full tube. I'd do that. I'd be up for that.
Yeah, Crafty and I have kicked around that idea, doing it in the fall up on the Rainy River, though.
Yeah,
but there again, that's a great example. Even in the fall, I'd want to wear waders on that. And the way I have the whole sturgeon fishing thing is if I did lace into one in the flow tube, battle him from the flow tube, kick up to shore, finish off the battle. Trying to unhook him in a flow tube, I think, would be a recipe for disaster. So kicking over to shore, getting on shore, and finishing it out over there would be my plan of attack anyway.
Oh no, I would just try to unhook him out of the tube and hopefully get some of the chaos on YouTube for my YouTube channel.
Absolutely, man. Well, it was so cool to see you back in the flow tube, and that gets me excited for this next open water season. I mean, I'm going to fast forward all the way through this whole drilling business and go right into spring, and I'm going to have you come up here, MT.
Oh yeah, and you should come down here too, because I know some fantastic river bottoms down here. You'll still have ice up there. You'll be able to come down here and we maybe catch some bullfin and some pike. And there's panfish everywhere too, down there. But
dude, I want to do a bullfin trip with you so bad.
Yeah, I do too. I want to. I love catching those things, man. They're cool. I want to do a video, catch, kill, and eat. I want to eat a bullfin. I want to try it and have it on my YouTube channel. Lay it out we'll flay it out. We'll cook it on a gas grill or something like that, or fry it up and sample and see how it tastes. I've heard a lot of people say that they're one of the best eating fish there ever was, but you know, it's just like burbot back in the 1970s, where it was every man's trash fish, and now they're so valuable they won't even let you keep them in Lake Mille Lacs anymore.
Right. Well,
so I think bowfin are the same thing. I think bowfin are probably a great eating, because they're a game fish. They swim around just like a walleye or a northern and eat other fish. That's all
absolutely. They do. Matter of fact, in my bowfin research over the years, I've come across several recipes for what do they call them down, mudfish down in like northern Florida, in North South Carolina, Alabama. They call them mudfish. But yeah, there's a bunch of recipes for them, and I don't see why it's just going to taste like fish. You know, Dale Luganbell and I have talked about that on this podcast several times. You know, a lot of times most people are just tasting breading, and they're not really tasting the fish, because pretty much fish just tastes like water.
Don't put good breading on good fish. Don't put good breading on. I'll show you how to cook fish the right way. Everybody's I love, one of my favorite fish to eat, and people are probably going to freak out about it, and I might even go and do it tomorrow. Like a 14 to 16 inch largemouth bass through the ice. Oh, yeah.
Dude, they're so good in the wintertime. You get a lot of meat, and it's really flavorful. I just pan fry it with a little bit of butter and salt and pepper. I don't put no breading on it.
Yeah, maybe seasoning, something like that, you know. And I cut the line out of the middle, but they're just as good as any. And my favorite actually is small northern pike. You can keep 12 of those now, under 22 inches. And I know how to clean the bones. It only takes me like 10 seconds to take the bones out of them. So it's like they're a great eating fish too. That another fish I want to catch. I don't know if we'd be able to do it in a flow tube though. Is these snakeheads that are down south. The problem with down south of the flow tube, I think some people do it. I'd be a little nervous with my legs dangling with crocodiles and alligators and
cottonmouths.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of snakes so much. But,
a cottonmouth will kill you too. You know,
well, yeah,
I'm not a big fan of dying.
Yeah, if you go up to them and bother them, but they don't hunt you down and sink their teeth into you. I mean, they don't. But croc will. You know, croc will. Yeah, what's that? What are those little things dangling down there? That might be food.
Right. And especially if you don't have waders on, I don't care how tan your legs are. When you put them underwater, they look like nice dead morsels for snapping turtles and alligators.
Yeah, I don't think a wader's going to help you if a croc's or an alligator going to get you. Those little waders ain't going to do much for you.
Yeah, I probably would. I'm with you. I probably wouldn't be kicking any back swamps in Louisiana or Florida or Alabama. Matter of fact, I probably wouldn't even float tube fish the Trinity River in Texas for alligator gar either. Chances of them biting you are pretty slim, but man, they're just big enough and pretty gnarly enough to kind of freak me out. I'd rather catch one out of a boat.
Oh, if it's a fish, I'd chase it in a full tube. If it's a fish, not a crocodile or an alligator, but if it's a fish, I'll chase after it. Yeah, I don't know. I
haven't leveled up that far yet.
Fish don't actually try to bite you. They might accidentally bite when you're fighting them, but they don't.
Right.
They won't approach you and try to bite you. Or I would never fish I would never go swimming in a lake of northerns and muskies because they can do a lot of damage. If they wanted to hunt you down, they could do a lot of damage. But they don't. They don't. The only reason why they bite you is they're trying to get away and they just slash around and your finger happens to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah,
and it catches on a tooth. They don't even try to bite you. They're just people think that they're trying to bite you, and I don't do that.
No. I did take Ellen out this summer on Lake Bemidji, and on the way to the lake, I was thinking, and I was looking at her flippers, and her flippers aren't very big. You know, they're maybe 14 inches long, and they're pure white. She brought them up because she had them from when she was doing swimming class or something. And they're pure white. And I had a little bit of apprehension, just not that she would be attacked, but muskies here's this 14-inch white thing flopping around. I could see a muskie coming up and hitting her fin, her little flipper.
I think if it's kind of like murky water and it's in a pike or something, see something moving that's big enough or small enough to fit in its mouth, it might strike. Yeah.
Yeah. And it never happened. And we went out there 3 or 4 times, but I was always kind of a little bit aware of that it might not, like my flippers are quite large. They're black and silver, but they're big. Yeah. But hers are, I was looking at them when we got to the landing on Bemidji, and I was looking at them. I'm like, shit, there's musky lures that are bigger than this. She'll be all right. She'll be okay. It was the heat of the summer. Those big muskies were way out deep anyway. So
you were fishing in a big muskie lake, though?
Yeah, we were fishing right out on Bemidji.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some absolute monsters out there.
Lake Bemidji, the big Lake Bemidji,
yeah, right in town.
Oh,
yeah.
What'd you catch in your full tube on that lake?
Oh, we went out rock bassing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
She had a hoot. We picked the couple of times we went, it was actually super calm, pretty rare, and we were able to kick out there and catch some rock bass and have a good time. She really enjoyed it. So,
well, perfect.
But most of the time when we go out, we just chase bluegills and crappies and bass, and she did, like I said, she did good this summer. She started taking out her own hooks. She got better at holding them. She did get stuck a few times in the hand from the pectoral fins of bluegills, which happens to me all the time, and I don't blame her. That shit hurts.
Yeah.
And so she's not a big fan of holding the big bluegills, the like 10 inchers. She likes the littler ones that she can get her hand around. I never made it out. I never did take her out bullhead fishing though. And she asked about going out of the flow tubes and stuff. And I was like, she always wanted to go during the week, and we got to get up at like 6:00 in the morning, get her ready for Boys and Girls Club. And I got to go to work and stuff. And I said, honey, we'll have to do that on a Friday night or something like that. But
yeah,
maybe this summer we'll try to get some bullheads out of the flow tube. I think that'd be a blast.
Do you have to go at night to catch those, or can you get them during the day?
You can, but your odds are better at night.
Yeah,
way better at night. But
that's interesting. That would be interesting. Yeah,
bullheads they're super fun. Turn Crafty on to fishing those too.
Yeah, that's another fish you don't want to drop on your full tube.
No,
they have vines on them.
Yeah, or drop them in your lap. That'd hurt too.
Yeah, that could have potential implications. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, man, any big plans for Christmas?
No, not fishing related.
No?
No.
We're just going to relax and enjoy some company with some friends?
Yeah, I go to church on Christmas Eve. We have a big service and a meal there, and then afterwards I'll go visit family.
Awesome.
And then Christmas Day, I'm not sure yet what I'm doing Christmas Day. So
okay. Well, what did you ask Santa for anything?
Everybody does everything Christmas Eve, so kind of Christmas Day. You never know. I might even go out on the ice and see if I can snag me a few little northerns to eat.
Oh, there you go.
Something like that, or I might take the kayak out to pool 2 or pool 4 and try for some walleyes. I don't know. It depends on the weather. If it's warm, I'll go out in the boat, and if it's cold, I'll drill some holes.
There you go.
I took 2 years off ice fishing. I didn't go ice fishing much the last 2 years, so I might get back in a little more again this year. Maybe.
Let me ask you, what was the reason for taking some time off? Are you just getting kind of burned out on it, or?
Well, at first I quit doing the UPL because I just didn't want to commit anymore to the four weekends.
Yep.
And and the game has really changed too. It's not the way. I mean, I'm not against or anything like that, but it's just not the way I like to fish.
Right.
They all have the new electronics where it's like a live scope where you see the fish way off.
Yep.
And there they are, and then you go run over, drill a hole, and then so it's really more mobility game. And we got one, and I actually my two worst years that I never won a UPL were when we had that thing. I decided I didn't want to adapt.
Okay. No, there's
there's
nothing wrong with that, man.
Too much running around chasing fish, and I think the thing scares them too. Because I've never seen fish move so quick. You go, oh, they're over there, and you get the hole drilled, and you get your line down. You might catch one, and then you got to scope them out again, and then you got to redrill, and I just kind of started getting burnt out on that, and that was the only reason why I was ice fishing, is because I was busy with the UPL, and then when I quit the UPL, I thought, oh, good, now I'm free to go out in my new canoe and go hit the open water. So that's what I did.
Oh, cool.
Did open water, and I did the wade fishing over by the power plant and caught smallmouth and stuff like that. Did all those kind of things,
Okay.
But but this year I'd like to get back out. I still go to the weigh-ins at the UPL. It's still fun to watch. And
then catch up with your old buddies and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and then sometimes I go fish their old holes, and I tried that last year. Me and a friend got in a ATV, and we went to where all the UPLers got their fish and fished their holes, and I got skunked. They did. The guys in UPL are so good now that they just caught all the fish out, and there was none left for me to catch. So
wow.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
But it was fun, But
well, I mean, like I said, I think this winter is going to be very much different for me, and I'm at peace with it in my head. Like, yeah, if I get out, I get out. If I kind of need to step away for a little bit. I don't know. I've always been that kind of person. Like, I really get into something and I do it and I reach this point where I just need to take a break and do something different. I might go back and back to it in my own time, I guess. Like I said, I haven't quit ice fishing. I'm just kind of pumping the brakes a little bit, just chilling out. And it's partly because I love it so much. I just don't want to burn out and quit and never do it again and just say I'm sick of it.
Right. Well, I tell you what, if I lived up there, I'd be like wanting to go chase some burbot. And
well, I look forward to that every year, but every year it's a gamble, whether you can get out on those burbot spots or not, because a lot of them aren't right offshore where a guy can go and walk. A lot of them you got to drive, or you got to have a snowmobile, and we're talking like the middle of Cass Lake type business. And sometimes it's not easy, or you just can't do it, period. We had a winter, wasn't last year, year before. Just everything slushed out. You just couldn't get nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
Very few people were able to even burbot fish.
There's no fish in the whole world that's worth going through all that stuff.
No.
Deep slush and thin ice underneath and all that. Ugh, no,
not only that, you're doing it at night, and it just gets way colder at night. And so we always look forward to burbot season, but we also know in the back of our mind we may be able to do it and we may not be able to do it. So,
well, that's the way all life is. You never know what you're going to be able to do. You take one day at a time, and you never know, or something will come along. You might not be able to fish again. So enjoy it when you got it. Yeah. Enjoy it while you got it. That's all you can do.
Yeah. Well, I would love if you wanted to come up and do some burbot fishing. Myself and Crafty would love to take you out if we're able to get out ourselves. We'd take you out for an evening of burbot fishing for sure.
Yeah, well, we'll see how the ice conditions shape up and stuff like that, and
go from there.
And if not that, then at least for sure hit that bluegill lake again with you that we hit the last time. That would be fun too. That bluegill with the float tubes.
Yeah,
do that, and then do all kind of things. I want to fish all different lakes in the float tube. It'd be fun to fish. I'd like to put in on Lake Superior and fish right around the mouth of the river in a float tube. Hook a salmon or something like that. That'd be pretty cool too. But that all depends on the weather too. Obviously, you don't want to. If you got a east wind coming in, you ain't gonna be kicking around a float tube on Lake Superior.
No.
But it can be calm. And when it's calm, there's waves still, but they're nice and smooth, and you go up and down. It's really cool. I've been out there a few times in my kayak, and it's just awesome.
I bet you it's super relaxing.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's really nice. You just got to make sure you know what the weather's going to do. You got to keep an eye on that weather.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I have plans this spring to... I've never caught a walleye out of my float tube. And I have plans of... I kind of tested some things out this fall. I'm able to maintain like a I don't know, 0.7, 0.9 mile per hour, because I've got my little graph, at a nice steady pace for however long I want. I'm not winded. I don't get tired. And that
How
would
fast?
be about just under a mile an hour.
Okay, wow.
And that would be perfect for, back trolling, dragging some meat, lindy rigging.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'd love to catch some walleyes doing that. So, and I've got a great walleye lake right out here, right downtown. So,
Yeah, there you go. I got some big walleyes on Lake Laconia. I was actually going crappie fishing, and for some reason I found this hard bottom, and it was only like 5 feet deep, and I was just using a plastic minnow, and I got one that was like 7 pounds.
Holy smokes!
It was pulling me around my float tube. It was spinning me around circles, and everybody was standing on a dog watch at me, and I'm like, oh, I wish I was doing video back then, because I was like, oh, I got a big one, it's a whale, and I was laughing and shouting and stuff like that. Oh man, that was funny. It was like 26 and a half inches long. I had measured it and threw it back. I didn't want to keep it. It was too big.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was cool. So I'd love to chase some walleye. I'd love to chase just about anything I could think of. I'd like to chase in a full tube. It'd be fun. Big carp, that'd be fun,
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, anybody that's listening to this, if you're in the Minnesota area and you run across either me or MT, old Michael Thompson there at some boat landing, you see some dude with a float tube. I love talking about my float tube. Do not hesitate to come and say hi and ask me all the questions you want, or Michael. I mean,
absolutely. I love to just shoot the ball fishing any old time,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And float tubing it's super fun. And I actually was able to turn quite a, 3 or 4 dudes on across the state here to float tubes, guys that ordered them, that got them. They're like, hey man, been watching your YouTube and this and that, and I ordered a float tube and I absolutely love it. And they all are boat owners too, and they like doing 50-50 in the summertime. They're like, you're right, man. There are times where it's like, I want to go fishing, but I do not want to deal with the boat. So I just take my float tube.
Didn't you say you were starting a kind of a float tube club where people would just have some get-togethers? And
Yep, I did. I did a little. I got an Instagram page for it and stuff, and I've got an email address and everything, and we were going to get together and stuff, but I'm hoping to ramp that up. I've got some ideas to work on over this winter. The Lone Angler's probably going to get a website, and Mini Botas will be a part of that too. And that'll be a place where you can come and get all that information. So I'm kind of working on that stuff here this winter. There's another reason why I'm probably not going to ice fish as much as I normally do, because I've got a lot of work to do. I've got big plans for the podcast and Mini Botas and that kind of stuff. So, I'm hoping that Float Tube Club, we do some get-togethers next summer. That's the big goal. Just one for start. I'd love to do 2, but I'd like to start out. We'll just start out with 1. We'll meet up somewhere on a weekend, and we'll just go and kick and fish and have a good time.
Yeah, so some Saturday I'd come up and join for sure. Maybe I'll drag Elvis. He likes float tubing. He might want to go.
I know, man. It didn't break my heart, but he got really into the kayak fishing.
Yeah, I was kind of at fault for that. I told him he was trying to do these kayak tournaments in his float tube. I said, if you really want to do the bass tournament thing, you probably need to get a kayak because you got to move around a lot more, But there are certain times where you can float tube and do well, but there's a lot of these clubs won't allow a float tube because I think it's because float tube was beating them, and they were like not liking that, so they outlawed them. But
now
I don't know.
Did Elvis? Sure. Did he end up selling his float tube?
No, he still got it. Yeah,
good.
I'll get him back. We'll get out tubing. He's still interested in tubing, but by the time I got my tube going and he saw that I was tubing again when I was down in Tennessee, things got pretty doggone cold up here. So
yeah.
Well, we're putting that on the burner, but we'll do that next summer. And I got my Facebook group, Fish Chasers, and that's dedicated to both float tubes and kayaks. So you can definitely join up with my Facebook group and promote the YouTube, and I'll help you promote the FlowTube Club around here too.
For sure, man.
So
We'll collab on that.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have sign up for my groups. Just called Fish Chasers, and we'll talk about full tubing and share your videos and adventures and stuff like that, and what your plans are for the tube scene.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I follow that big club out of California, that Tube Mob. They're called.
Okay, Tube Mob. Is that what they're called now? Okay, I didn't.
Yep.
There was one called Flow Tube or Die, and I can't find them anymore. But
yeah, no, they're I think there's still a Facebook page for them, but on Instagram it's Tube Mob with 2 B's, and they do some pretty huge tournaments out there in California on like Castaic and those lakes around that San Diego, Los Angeles area. Pretty big club. They put on some pretty huge tournaments with pretty big purses, so pretty cool stuff. And that's where I learned about 7 bass, and then also watching the European fishing. Like, part of me wants to get an Abu Garcia beast. That's Abu Garcia makes a flow tube.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Oh yeah. There's that flow tube fishing in Europe is still pretty big, and I think some of the better tubes are coming out of Europe, and it's pretty cool stuff. But
okay, well, if I ever pop my Fish Cat 4, maybe I'll get a European model next. But I don't know. My Fish Cat 4 is pretty tough. I put it through a lot.
Oh yeah.
But I'll get Elvis back tubing next spring, but I kind of got him into the kayak thing because he's kind of like the Darth Vader's apprentice. He kind of took over when I kind of got out of the kayak tournament scene. He kind of took over, and he fished the Bassmasters kayak tournament down on the river this summer, and he took like 6th place or something like that.
Wow, that's awesome.
So he's like taking over where I left off and say, "Yeah, you go get him." That's my, yeah, it's funny. I got also my ice fishing apprentice Stuart Manning. Last year he had to find a new partner because I didn't want to fish it, and he found a new partner, and he had a rough start, but at the end he ended up beating the all-time UPL record, the biggest bag ever.
I remember that.
New partner, and I was like, "Yeah, that's my apprentice, man." He took the force. I gave him the force out of me, and it went into him. He's the new Darth of ice fishing now.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
That's pretty cool. It was like, oh, man. Yeah. So that's great. I can inspire people to fish and to fishing excellence. That's great.
MT, I've always, ever since we met, I've always respected you, and I'm really appreciative of our friendship, and I've always spoke highly of you as one of the best panfish jig fishermen in Minnesota. And there's a lot of people that agree with me, man, and I really appreciate it, and I'm really looking forward to float. I'm pretty fired up right now. I kind of want to jump in the car and go to Tennessee and go float tubing down there.
Ooh.
But I've got a little princess that's going to be flying from Tennessee here, and I'll be picking her up on the 21st there at Minneapolis Airport. Fun. I'm looking forward to driving down there again.
Okay. Well, sometime when you're down there visiting and you want to take a day off and go fishing, maybe I go visit my folks sometime. And
that would be cool.
And I could take you out on one of these lakes and catch all kinds of bluegills, I suppose. Or
that would be fun. That would be fun. Well, dude, I'm gonna let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening. And I just want to thank you for taking this time to chat with me. And it was really exciting to hear you talk about flow tube fishing again, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, anytime you want to do any kind of fishing episodes, I'm always willing to do it. I like podcasting. I just don't have the time or anything to do my own podcast. So if other people invite me, I always would like to chat fishing. It's always a good time.
Yeah, you're a good one to chat with, buddy, and I appreciate it. And the rest of my evening is going to be I kind of want to watch some Star Wars tonight, man.
Huh.
I'm sitting here looking at my Christmas tree, and I'll put a picture of it up on Facebook. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's got me.
Oh, I saw it already. I saw it, and it's no. I was like, at first I was thinking, why is he putting a moon on his Christmas tree? And I look again, I go, that's no moon.
Yes. It's pretty cool, man. It plays the Star Wars theme song. It doesn't do the Imperial March, but it just does the.
No, but when it first starts up, it sounds like somebody pulling out a lightsaber. Right?
Yep. Yeah. And a matter of fact, the remote control is a little tiny lightsaber. It's pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm just gonna finish out my night watching some Star Wars, man. So I'm gonna let you get out of here, MT. I always appreciate a good chat with you, buddy. And you have yourself a Merry Christmas.
All right, I'm looking forward to re-listening to it, and so I can think to myself, why did I say that? Oh, I can't believe I just said that.
Like what you're doing right now.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man. Have a Merry Christmas, dude.
Merry Christmas and a happy new and very fishy new year, yes.
Thank you very much. You too, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
May we delete many fish, yes.
Bye now.
Bye.